Hello, welcome to Bored and Confused, where I review shows based on two criteria. One, was I bored? Two, was I confused? Today's show is Sondheim's Old Friends, a great big Broadway show. They're not lying. So this is playing at the Samuel J. Friedman Theater on Broadway. It started out as a tribute concert to Stephen Sondheim. It was produced by Cameron Mackintosh, who collaborated with Stephen Sondheim in many of his shows. And it was so popular that they took it to the West End, and then they brought it to LA, and now it's here on Broadway, where it belongs. So there have been a lot of reviews of Sondheim. I think I read someplace that there has been 6 of them on Broadway, probably more than any other composer has had. I'm familiar with Side by Side by Sondheim and Putting It Together. I think both of those are on video. I think that's where I've seen them. And both of those were also produced by Cameron Mackintosh. This show stars Bernadette Peters and Lea Salonga. And the reason I went stars is because it's really an ensemble cast. And not only is it an ensemble cast, but I was surprised to see Beth Leavel in the ensemble, because in my mind, she's a star. She's a Broadway star. She's been in like 6 Broadway shows. She's been nominated for 3 Tony Awards. She's won 1 time. She has as many Tony Awards as Lea Salonga does. She just hasn't been the voice of a Disney princess. And I know Lea Salonga is a bigger star, but this is on Broadway, and Beth Leavel to me is a Broadway star. So I wonder if for some reason Lea Salonga or Bernadette Peters need to call out. I'm wondering if Beth Leavel becomes the Broadway star, because that would make sense to me. And these are all talented performers, not only the leads, of course, but also the ensemble was really fantastic and doing just as much work, honestly. Some of the people in the ensemble sing just about as many songs as our leads do, so it's really an ensemble show. Anyhow, let's get into this show. Was I bored? Was I confused? I was not bored at all during this show because I love Stephen Sondheim. I was familiar with all of these songs except one, which was a song from Dick Tracy called Live Alone and I Like It. Was I confused? Well, I was confused because they tell us right at the beginning that this show is primarily going to be songs from the shows that Cameron Mackintosh and Stephen Sondheim worked together. And that's fine, but my question was, is this a Stephen Sondheim tribute, or is this a Stephen Sondheim and Cameron Mackintosh tribute? I feel like it's a tribute to Sondheim, pull from all of Sondheim's material. That's just me. Another thing is Sondheim has written hundreds, I guess, I don't know how many songs, but he's written a lot of songs. And they included the songs that he just wrote lyrics for, from West Side Story, from Gypsy. Now, those are great lyrics, those are great songs, but you've already got so many songs to choose from. I would have said just do Stephen's songs that he did music and lyrics for, just to narrow it in a little bit, because there's a wealth there to choose from. And some of these other reviews have done West Side Story and Gypsy, so I would rather hear more of his music. That's just me, and I think it makes it feel more of a piece. The show is called Old Friends, and really I felt like the only old friend in this is Bernadette Peters. And there is a moment where she sings, it's a beautiful moment in the show. She starts out singing Not a Day Goes By, and then the ensemble joins her, and we see projections of these photos, many of which it's Bernadette and Stephen together when they worked on Sunday in the Park or Into the Woods. And so that was a really nice moment, because I thought the theme of old friends really made sense there. And I guess when this was done as a tribute concert, it included people that had worked with Sondheim, bigger names in the London theater scene, so the Old Friends probably made more sense. Here, it's strange to me that it's called Old Friends. In the program, it does say they sang Old Friends in the second act, but I honestly don't remember it. So maybe they only sang a bit of it. I don't think they sang the full song. But they did sing Side by Side, both in the first act and the second act, and it's the finale of the second act. So I thought that was weird, because Cameron Mackintosh, you've already done a review called Side by Sondheim. So if this is Old Friends, why aren't we using Old Friends as our finale or as our opening number? I'm just saying. Also, the choosing of the songs and the order of the songs feel a little bit arbitrary. They have sections where they'll do like a West Side Story. They did the Tonight Quartet and they did Somewhere. sung beautifully by Lea Salonga. And they did a section of Sweeney Todd. They did a section of Into the Woods. And then Follies had a couple songs grouped together, but it also had songs elsewhere. And then the company songs were just spread throughout the show. The show that got the most love in this review is Company. I think there were about 6 songs from Company. I wish there was some more logic to this way the songs were assembled and put together. It was also interesting in that Bernadette Peters, who has sung a lot of Sondheim in her career, she mostly sang songs that we've heard her sing before. And she's 77 years old now. So I say, if you want to see Bernadette Peters, you run it out of time. Not that she's gonna die anytime soon, but you know, her voice isn't as strong as it used to be. So this is an opportunity to see her. And she sings a lot of the songs that we've heard her sing before. And you know, does she sing them as well as maybe some of the recordings or some of the YouTube videos we've seen? Maybe her voice isn't as strong, but you know, she's at a different place in her life, so she's bringing something emotionally different to these songs. I especially was touched by her Send in the Clowns, which I've heard her sing before. She also sings Not a Day Goes By, she sings Losing My Mind and Broadway Baby, all songs that are very familiar. The one song she did sing that I had not heard her sing before was I Know Things Now, which was Little Red Riding Hood. And they did a strange thing. This is the only time they combined that song with the song Bounce from one of Sondheim's shows that he wrote later in his career. And this is the only time that they combined 2 songs. And it stuck out to me. I was like, why are we doing that? Like, I could see if you did that a lot, that would be really fun. Bernadette Peters is a good comedian, and she had star power. Like, right when she came on, you just feel, you go, oh, she's so comfortable on stage. She knows what she's doing. She's a star. Felt that star power right away. Now, Lea Salonga, also a star, but she does not have a history of singing Sondheim. So she used this as an opportunity to sing a lot of songs that actually went against her type. She sang songs by Mrs. Lovett from Sweeney Todd. She really dove in, put on the costume, blacked her teeth out. She went full Mrs. Lovett. And she also sings Everything's Coming Up Roses from Gypsy. So if you're a big fan of Lea Salonga, this is a great chance to see her singing material that you probably won't ever see her sing. She did a good job, but I just don't see her ever starring in a Broadway production of Sweeney Todd or Gypsy. I could be wrong. So this is a great opportunity to hear her sing these songs. She was great with them. The real standout for me in this show was Beth Leavel. She is so funny. My 3 songs that I loved the most in the show were the ones that Beth Leavel sang. Beth sang The Little Things You Do Together from Company with Gavin Lee, who also has a few Tony nominations. That was great, very comic. Beth also sang You Gotta Get a Gimmick with Bernadette and Joanna Riding, who I'm not familiar with, but I loved her. Joanna Riding is a 5-time nominee and 2-time winner of the Olivier Award. And she was great. She also sang Not Getting Married Today, and I thought she was fantastic in that. There's a lot of Olivier Award winners and nominees in this because it did come from London. So it's actually really nice to get a taste of some of these performers who are stars in London, and we get to see them perform in this, which is really, really fun. I loved Joanna and all the things she did. She's a real talent and very funny. Cast overall, ensemble was fantastic. And then Beth Leavel sang Here's to the Ladies Who Lunch. And she tore that up as well. So she was the standout performance. For me, I love Lea Salonga, but part of me really wanted to see what Beth Leavel would have done with Mrs. Lovett and Madame Rose. So maybe if Lea ever calls out, maybe she'll get an opportunity to do those. I would love to see that because she's just such a great comic genius. I went to the show with a friend who's not as familiar with Sondheim as I am, and I think he was a little confused by some of these songs because when they're taken out of the context of the show, they don't quite make as much sense. And I think maybe he got a little, maybe not bored, but a little disinterested, especially in the second act where there were a lot of songs from Follies that I didn't feel like really stood out well on their own. Also, sometimes they are being sung by, for example, Could I Leave You, which is normally sung by a woman, is being sung by Gavin Lee. And he did a great job with it, but to me that song is just more powerful when it's sung by a woman. And sometimes people that are not the right type or right age, for example, they did Pretty Women from Sweeney Todd, but it was sung by an older gentleman and a younger man playing the judge, which the judge is usually an older person. So little things like that, I think to people who aren't familiar with Sondheim's shows, could be a little confusing. There's just a lot of choices with this show that I didn't understand the rhyme or the reason. Wrapping this up, overall, any excuse to hear excellent performers sing the music of Stephen Sondheim, I'm there, I'm happy to buy a ticket and see that. And I was not disappointed by that at all. Also, tickets, guys, I scored another press ticket for this, so I had a great seat. But honestly, I love the Friedman Theater. It is so intimate. This is the theater Manhattan Theater Club does all their shows. I've seen so many shows. I've sat in the back row in the mezzanine. I think it only goes up to row G. And there's a great rake on this. There is not a bad seat in this house. There's rush tickets for these, so I think you could score a very affordable ticket and have an excellent view of old friends. A great big Broadway show. So go check it out and let me know what you think.
Don't bore me, don't confuse me. If you do, then you'll lose me. Don't wanna drift away, I wanna stay inside the